Hello, grade 8. Welcome to the live orientation November examination preparation. So this is specifically for grade 8. So in terms of the mark allocation, expect a paper which will be out of 70. The time allocation is 1 hour. Then firstly, let me take you through the instructions and the information. This question paper consists of 3 sections, namely section A, B, and C. Then the questions in section A and B are compulsory. Then you're supposed to choose any 2 questions in section C. So you must bear that in mind. Then you are required to read all the questions carefully before answering. So mark allocation should also determine the length of your response or the depth of your response. If a question is allocated at least 4 marks, it means that you need to provide a detailed response. Then number the questions accordingly or correctly as the numbering system used in this question paper. You are reminded to write neatly and legibly. Then let's go straight to the questions. Section A is a compulsory section where it's a compulsory section where you are required to answer all questions, like what I said before. Then various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the answer and write only the letter A to D next to the question number. For example, 1.1.4G. Then question number 1 reads, our sex tells that we are. So when you are talking about our sex, it simply means we are either male or female. So that is the definition of sex. In other words, it is a question which requires you to define the term sex. What is the meaning of the term sex? So it means the state of being either male or female. That is the definition of the term sex. Now moving on to the next question, 1.1.2, investigative. When someone is an investigative personality, it simply means that they can study and solve problems. They can actually study, they go out and research about a problem. Then after researching about the problem, they can come up with a solution. They can solve problem. So investigative refers to A, which is the ability to study and solve problems. Then 1.1.3, examples of nonverbal communication include. So our key term here is nonverbal. When we're talking about nonverbal, we are talking about something which is not oral, something which includes facial expressions. It also includes body language. So the answer which is linked to this is maintaining eye contact, facial expression, and posture. So our correct answer in this particular question would be A as well. It will be A, the ability to maintain eye contact. When you're speaking with people, your eyes also communicate a particular message. Your facial expression also communicates a particular message. Even the way you stand or your body posture, it also communicates a particular message. Then 1.1.4, the following influences every person in their upbringing. So we are looking at things which influence each individual in their upbringing. So we'll start by comparing the different options which are provided here. Then we consider if they are appropriate or not. So the first one, the first response is the community. Yes, the community which you live in, it actually shapes your upbringing to a very, very great extent, or to a greater extent, it shapes your upbringing. Then the media which you expose yourself to, it can be electronic media, it can be print media, or it can even be social media. It can actually affect your upbringing. Then the culture which you were brought up with, it also affects your upbringing. So in other words, we are saying all these responses are correct. So the correct letter which you are choosing here is the letter D. All of the above influence every person in their upbringing. 1.1.5, setting goals. So setting goals, we need to choose the correct answer here. So setting goals is a good idea because it will help you to direct and focus on your needs. It is actually something which is good. At any given time, you must have goals which you need to achieve. You need to set goals simply because it will help you direct and focus on your efforts. So the correct answer there would be the letter B. Moving straight ahead, question 1.2. All right, so question 1.2, what it requires here, it requires you to provide, so I would write the instruction here, provide one term or word for each of the following descriptions of the following descriptions. So we are looking for terms which are appropriate for each of the following descriptions from 1.2.1 up to 1.2.5. We are looking for a suitable term which we can use for each of the following descriptions. So now moving on, the first one, it actually reads, a conscious decision to avoid sexual activity or sexual behavior. So this decision is known as abstinence. When you decide to stay away from sexual activity or sexual behavior, that is defined as abstinence. We call it abstinence. When you decide to stay away from sexual activity, it is referred to as abstinence. So that's the correct term there. Then 1.2.2, ability of the muscles to perform a physical activity without getting tired. So when you're able to perform physical activities without getting tired, that is known as endurance. It means your body can endure. So that is known as endurance. Endurance, that is the ability of muscles to perform a physical activity without getting tired. Then 1.2.3, an idea or image you form about yourself. An idea or image which you form about yourself is called a person's self-concept. So self-concept is the term which they're looking for there. A person's self-concept. Then pretending to be someone else on the internet. When you are pretending to be someone else, it is a typical example of cyberbullying. That is a type of cyber bullying. That is an example of cyber bullying. All right, so we said that it is a type of cyberbullying, but there are also specific terms which can be used for it. It can also be called catfishing. It is referred to as catfishing. Then being an imposter. You can also be labeled as as an imposter. Then in addition to that, you can also say that you will be. In addition to that, you can also say that it is called an impersonator. Impersonator. So any of these can be a correct response. Pretending to be someone else on the internet, that is an example of cyberbullying. So it is referred also to as catfishing. You will be acting as an imposter. Then you can also be referred to as an impersonator. So it's also called impersonation. Impersonation. Then 1.2.5, continued or excessive use of alcohol and illegal drugs despite of their negative effect. This is known as substance abuse. So this is a typical example of substance abuse. That is the continued or excessive use of alcohol and drugs despite their negative effect. Then the instruction for the next question reads, match the statements in column A to the terms in column B. Write only the number and the letter that correspond with the correct answer. So the first one is depression. So when you're looking at depression, we need to find a correct term which matches depression. So depression can be matched to the letter C. So it is basically a state of health issues and unhappiness. So the correct letter for depression will be the letter C. That is the letter which describes depression. All right, so moving on to the next one, a visual learner. So a visual learner is a learner who learns more through through seeing things. So in this case, a visual learner would be the correct term for the visual learner would be D. Why are we saying D? Because a visual learner is able to learn by watching movies. So D would be the correct term there. Then the next question, media. Media refers to magazines, billboards, television, Facebook, and Twitter. These are examples of media. So media, that will be the letter F. The letter F is the suitable definition for media. Then group therapy. So when you talk about group therapy, we are talking about a situation whereby people share their experiences and get social support from experiences. For example, if people are facing a common problem of being abused, they can approach a social worker or a counselor who can provide with group therapy. So the correct letter for group therapy would be the letter A. Then abstinence, it is referred to as the best way to avoid pregnancy. Abstinence is referred to as the best way to avoid pregnancy. So the correct letter there will be the letter B. So just a quick rundown of our letters. 1.3.1, that is C. Then 1.3.2, that's D. Then this one will be F. 1.3.4, group therapy, that's A. Then the last one, abstinence, that will be the letter B. So C, D, F, A, B. That is the correct sequence for the answers there. Now let's go straight to question 1.4.1. 1.4.1, it requires the definition of a tertiary institution. So a tertiary institution, it is defined as an institution beyond high school. So I'll write it above there. A tertiary institution is an institution beyond high school. After high school, the institution which you go to is referred to a tertiary institution, where one needs to further their studies, where one can further their studies. E.g., a university or a TVET college. So a university or a TVET college. That can be referred to as a tertiary institution. So this is the correct answer for 1.4.1. So let's go to the next one, 1.4.2. Why is it important to do cool downs after doing physical activities? So after doing intense physical activities, you are required to conduct cool down activities in order to relax your muscles. So cool down activities are done in order to relax your muscles. In order to relax your muscles, cool down activities are done in order to relax your muscles. And they actually retain the muscles, cool down activities, retain the muscles to the required, they retain the muscles to the required resting length. So after physical activities, your muscles, they actually, what do you call it? They need to return to their normal length. Then it also lowers the heart rate. Cool down activities lower the muscle. It actually returns the muscles to the required resting. Then cool down activities also lowers the heart rate. When you're exercising, your heart rate increases. So when you do two cool down activities, you're trying to stabilize it. So that is the purpose of cool down activities. Now let's move on to the next one, 1.4.3. So 1.4.3 reads, define the term reconciliation. Reconciliation is a situation in which it is a process in which it is a situation in which two people or groups of people it is a situation in which two people or groups of people become friendly again. They become friendly again after an argument or a fight. So we are talking about a situation, a process in which two people or groups of people become friendly to one another again after an argument or a fight. So that process is known as reconciliation. So this is the definition of reconciliation. So as an example, for example, you and your friends, if you argue or if you fight against one another, then you decide to put your differences aside, then you decide to become friends again. That is an example of reconciliation. That is a typical example of reconciliation. So it is putting aside your differences, then deciding to become friendly or to become united once again. So let's go to 1.4.4. It needs a differentiation or a distinction between self-concept and self-motivation. What is the difference between self-concept and self-motivation? So I'll start with self-concept. Self-concept refers to how you see things. Self-concept refers to how you see things and how you see things about yourself. It refers to how you see things about yourself and how you feel. It also refers to how you feel about yourself. Self-concept refers to how you feel about yourself. As an individual, how do you see yourself? How do you feel about yourself? That is an example of self-concept. How you see things, how you see yourself, how you see yourself and how you feel about yourself. That is what we refer to as self-concept. Then still on that one, we need to differentiate it now from the concept of self-motivation. So self-motivation, I'll write it in another color so that we can show the difference there. So on the other hand, self-motivation self-motivation is believing in your abilities. Self-motivation is believing in your abilities. Self-motivation is believing in your abilities and being inspired to do things and being inspired to do things that interest you. And being inspired to do things which interest you. So the focus, it can also be required. This is the focus. The focus that keeps you moving on even things are tough. Even when things are tough, keeps you moving on even when things are tough. You can also say that it is important. Self-motivation is important for success. In order to achieve success. Self-motivation is important in order for you to achieve success. All right, moving on to the next. Okay, so moving on to question 2. Read the extract below and answer the questions that follow. Relationships and friendships. Healthy relationships and positive relationships play a huge part in our lives as children and as adults. Our friendships can make us feel loved and supported, even if we can't or we cannot get along all the time. So list 3 types of relationships that you can form. So as an individual or as a child in grade 8, you can form the following relationships. So the first relationship is a relationship at home. So number 1, I'll write them here. Number 1, relationship with family members at home. So when it comes to this one, that is the relationship between you and your mother, between you and your father, or between you and your sister or siblings. That is the family relationship which you form at home. Then at school, you might have relationship with your classmates, relationship with schoolmates at school. That is the second relationship. Then the third relationship, these are the relationship which formed in the community, in the society which you live in. Relationship in the community relationship in the community. That is another, these are the 3 relationships. So number 1, with family members. Number 2, with schoolmates. Number 3, with the community as a whole. Then indicate appropriate ways to initiate a relationship. So when you want to initiate a relationship, these are the appropriate steps which you can take. These are the most suitable steps which you can take. So step number 1, you start the conversation. Number 1, you start the conversation. Number 1, you start by initiating the conversation. Then from there, you move on to step 2. Step 2, you show interest. Show interest in starting a relationship with the next person. Then the next step, you must smile. Then next step, you share. Then final step, in the final step, you do a small favor. Do favors. Then after that, you can also offer small gifts. Small gifts. So these are the steps which you follow when you are initiating or starting a conversation. These are the 4 appropriate steps. Start the conversation, show interest, smile, share, do favors, and offer small gifts. Then 2.2, indicate 4 appropriate ways to initiate. We have done that. Then the next number, briefly explain 4 appropriate ways to behave in order to prevent problems in nature, relations, and prevent and nurture relationships to prevent problems. How do you prevent problems? So indicate 4 appropriate ways of initiating a relationship that has been dealt with. So briefly state 4 appropriate ways to behave in order to prevent problems in nature relationships. So in order to prevent problems in relationships, you are supposed to implement or practice the following things. So number 1, show understanding. Show understanding. You are supposed to show understanding. You are supposed to show understanding to your partner. You are supposed to show that you understand your partner when you are in a relationship. So you're supposed to show understanding. All right, another good way is show empathy. Show empathy, put yourself in that person's shoes. Show empathy. That is a situation whereby you put yourself in someone's shoes. Then you must provide mutual respect. You must respect one another. Provide mutual respect. Provide mutual respect to your friend or partner. Friend or partner You must provide mutual respect. Then in addition to that, in that relationship, you must share common interests. Common interests. You must share common interests. Then in addition to that, the next thing which you can do, you can also keep your promises. Keep promises. You must keep your promises. Return things which you borrow. Borrowed items. You must return borrowed items. So all these are appropriate ways to behave in order to prevent problems and nature relationships. So moving on to the next question. Question 3, study the picture below and answer the questions that follow. Diversity, 21 May, World Day for Cultural Diversity. So the first thing which they want them, they need the definition of diversity. So diversity can be defined in so many ways. So it means we have differences in culture, or we have different cultures. So cultural diversity means that we have differences in culture or in the way we do our beliefs or we conduct our beliefs. It is therefore important to respect each other. So cultural diversity means that we have cultural diversity means that we have differences in culture. Cultural diversity means that we have differences in culture or in beliefs. In beliefs, we have differences in culture or in beliefs. Therefore, it is important to respect one another. So cultural diversity means that we have differences in culture. Therefore, it is important to respect one another. Simply because we have differences amongst each other, it is quite important to respect one another. Then 3.2 reads, mention two different types of religion that South Africans follow. So there are different types of religions which South Africans follow. They have Christianity. Christianity is the most followed religion in South Africa. Christianity. In addition to that, there is Islam. Then in addition to that, there is African traditional religion, which is written as ATR, African traditional religion. Then there is also Baha'i faith. And we also have Islam. That is another. Okay, Islam, I've already mentioned it, or Judaism. So these are the different religions which are practiced in South Africa. Then briefly explain three types of social development that religious organizations can assist the communities with. So religious organizations are very important. So they can assist the community through taking care. Religious organizations can assist with taking care of the needy, care of the needy. So they can provide shelter and food for the homeless. So that is number one. Through the provision of food and through the provision of shelter for the homeless. Then religious organizations can provide moral support to orphans, abandoned children. Religious organizations can provide moral support to orphans and abandoned children. In addition to that, they can also provide love and hope. Provide love, hope, counseling to the vulnerable people, who are hopeless, who need assistance. So basically, these are the three methods of in which religion organization can assist with taking care of the needy, providing the basics, the food and shelter, clothing as well. Then you can provide and give moral support to orphans, abandoned people, and even old people, old aged people. Then they should also provide love, hope, counseling to the vulnerable who need assistance. So these are the various ways in which religious organizations can play a huge role in helping different communities. So that is question 3. Now moving on to section C, answer any 2 questions in this section. So your responses must be consist of paragraphs. Leave a line after answering each bullet. Marks will only be allocated for responses written in full sentences. So question 4, read the extracts below and answer the questions that follow. Nation building. Nation building is not just about roads and buildings. It's building a sense of shared community and collective future. That's according to Rania Al Jazeera. So write a paragraph on constitutional values and nation building in which you include the following. Briefly explain the term nation building. So when we are talking about the term nation building, we are talking about the term nation building, it refers to the process of structuring or constructing national identity. It is the process, nation building is the process of structuring or constructing national identity. Nation building refers to the process of constructing or structuring national identity. Then in your own view, how does sports contribute to nation building? All right, sport contributes to nation building, contributes to nation building through bringing people of different cultural backgrounds It brings people of different cultural backgrounds and ages together and age groups together to support sports contributes to nation building through bringing people of different cultural backgrounds and age groups together to support a national team I'll give you an example. All right. For example, e.g., when the rugby national team won the World Cup, all South Africans rallied or supported the team, rallied behind the team. Also, when Bafana qualified for the 2026 World Cup, when they qualified for the 2026 World Cup, the country celebrated together. They celebrated together. So that is how sports can build the nation. Then three different ways in which you can promote nation building. So other different ways which you can use to promote nation building include the following ways. Other ways in which you can promote nation building. So through the promotion of Ubuntu, nation building can be done through the concept of Ubuntu, which teaches that we are all one despite our differences. So the concept of Ubuntu, it teaches that we are one despite our differences. It also teaches that we are because we are together. It also teaches that people should come together. So through the concept of Ubuntu, then through helping one another, when in need, through helping one another when in need. In addition to that, it also comes about through doing cleanups, community cleanups, through doing community cleanups and community projects. So it can also be done through cleanups and community projects. So these are the various ways in which a nation can be built. Then moving straight to question 5. So question 5, it is a question which is focusing on on learning styles rather. So in the first part, we do have the visual learner. Then in the second part, we also have a learner who learns more by listening. Then we also have a learner who learns more by reading, and also others who learn more by note taking. So there are different learning styles which appear there. So describe the 4 learning styles shown in the picture above. So I'll describe on the picture itself. So the first one, all right. A, we do have a learner who learns by reading and writing. So A, this one, reading and writing. This is a type of learner who learns by reading and writing. All right, these learners, they learn by writing things down. So they believe in note taking. When they are taking notes, they get to learn things. So they believe in not taking. That is the first type of learner. Then the second type of learner, above that, I'll use the green color for that one. The other learner who is above, they are the visual learner. They are described as the visual learner. Learners learn more, learn better using. They learn better using flashcards, symbols, watching videos. They learn better by flashcards, symbols, watching videos. In addition to that, you can also say that this type of learners, they are visual. They use flashcards. They learn by looking at something. Learn by looking at something. Something. They learn by looking at something. That's how they learn. Then the next type of learner, is referred to as the next type of learner is referred to as the kinesthetic learner who learns through different signs, who learns through different signs. That is the kinesthetic learner who learns using all of one's senses. Learners learn by using all the senses, all the senses. They learn better when they use all the senses. Then we also have the oral learner. Or the oral learning style. They learn more by listening, by listening to people speaking. That is how they learn. So those are the different learning styles. Now suggest to your friends 2 learning styles that are suitable to you. So here, this is an optional, I think, depending on your on your abilities. For example, personally, I prefer reading and viewing. In addition to this, I also prefer note taking. So it depends. Then at the same time, I'm also good at learning visually. So it depends on your abilities. This one is an optional type of response. It depends on what works well for you. Then the next question now, it says read the extract below and answer the questions that follow. Risky factors: early aggressive behavior, lack of parental supervision, academic problems, peers or substance abuse, drug availability, poverty, peer rejection, and child abuse are some of the risk factors associated with increased likelihood of youth substance abuse. Write a paragraph on social factors which you include the following. Give 2 social factors that contribute to substance abuse. Explain 2 long-term effects of substance abuse. As a grade 8 learner, give 2 things that your fellow students must do to avoid or stop substance abuse. So I'll start with the first one. 2 social factors that contribute to substance abuse. Social factors contributing to substance abuse include. So let's bear in mind that our question requires the social factors. Social, it is something to do with our communities. It is something to do with the people around us. Include peer pressure. It includes peer pressure. So learners can experience peer pressure in communities and in schools, or in schools to experiment with substances which then results in substance abuse. It then results in substance abuse. So that is the first thing. Then secondly, we need two social factor. All right, the media can influence the youth in participating in substance abuse. So some youths imitate what they see on TV, social media, etc. They imitate what they see on TV and social media. Then they will end up becoming addicted to substance. Then in addition to that, the community also can contribute as additional points. You can also include the community. The community can also be involved, and even family members, they can contribute to substance abuse. Then the next one, explain long-term effects of substance abuse and advice. So this one, we'll take it to the top part. All right, so long-term effects of substance abuse. Term effects of substance abuse. Abuse includes dropping out of school. That is the long-term effect of substance abuse. Dropping out of school, which starts by being distracted from school, then followed by guilt or even being expelled because of substance abuse. Then it can also result in involvement in gangs, or gangsterism, which may leading to criminal activities, involvement in gangster activities, leading in criminal activities. That is another factor. Then it can also result in health problems. Health problems can also be caused by substance abuse. Then the last part, as a grade 8 learner, give advice to two things that your fellow students can do or to avoid substance abuse. So the first thing, say no to drugs. Say no to drugs. So you let your no be a no. Then in addition to that, stay out of bad groups, bad company. Must stay out of bad company, which influences you negatively. Then avoid risky situations. Avoid risky situations. So all these are methods of staying away from drug abuse. So this brings us to the end of this session. Thank you for being part of my audience. Wish you the best of luck in your final examination. See you next time. Bye.